Hello friends, welcome back in the channel of Clinical Care Insight. In osteology, we started a series of lecture and we covered about the basic introduction about the cartilage and the bone. Okay, we also discussed about how the bones is formed in our body. That's called the bone ossification. Then we seen about the bone remodeling. Okay, then we seen about then when the fractures happen, then how the fracture will recover. That we dealt under the, we can say, the bone healing or more specifically the fracture healing. Okay, so today our topic of discussion is joints. Okay, today we will discuss about the joint. Okay, and here is the lecture outline. First we will go with the introduction, then we will discuss about the two branches. The first one is called arthrology and second one is called rheumatology. Okay, then we will discuss about the joint, okay, in detail, then their classification, blood supply along with their clinical correlations. I hope you all are fine, well. So today our topic of discussion is joints. Write down. Joints. Joints, the first, what things come in your mind when you think joints? It means the fusion. Yeah, it's the fusion between the two things. Exactly. The joints in context of the bones, it's a point of contact. It's a point of contact, or we can say the contact between the two bone or contact between the bone and the cartilage. Okay, contact between the bone and our teeth. This is called as the joints. So definition of joint is it is a contact between two bones, okay, between bones and cartilage, okay, between bone and your teeth. Understanding? This is called joints. Now, the study of joint is dealt in a one specific branch of anatomy that's called arthrology. That's called the arthrology. Write down. Arthrology is a branch of anatomy in which there is a study of joints. Okay, so study of joint is called as arthrology. Whereas there is another branch called rheumatology. Rheumatology. It is a medical specialty, okay, in which there is a study of joints, bones, muscles, okay, and their, we can say, their disease condition. Okay, it's a medical specialty. The fundamental difference between the arthrology and the rheumatology is that arthrology only deals with the study of joints. Understanding? Whereas the rheumatology, it study the joint, bones, tendons, ligaments, okay, and their treatment. Okay, if there is any pathology, like you heard about the arthritis, different kind of arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, okay, then some of the immunological arthritis, all those osteoarthritis, okay, gouts, these are some of the diseases which is dealt in the rheumatology, okay, which is dealt under the rheumatology. So I should repeat once again so that you don't confuse with these two branches. The arthrology only specifically study the joints, okay, whereas the rheumatology, it's a medical specialty, okay, it's a medical specialty which deals with the bones, muscles, joints, okay, and their treatment Understood? Now let's come bit detail in the joint and understand some of the characteristics feature of joint. The features, or we can say the characteristics Features of joint. First thing you should keep in mind, this is joint is meant for providing, we can say, the stability to the bones. Okay, providing the stability of the bones. Suppose you don't have joint in your body, then are you able to move? Okay, are you able to move? No, it's not possible. Okay, suppose if I don't have joint, then I will move like this. Okay, so this is the joint, okay, which help in the movement, movements of body parts. Second thing you should keep in your mind is that there are diseases which affects the joints. There are diseases and they are prevalent, okay. And most of the diseases they arises just because of immobility or lack of physical exercise or too much exercise. Okay, so diseases of joints are common among the old age. You might feel it that in the most of the old aged persons, this is one kind of chief complaint, that they have the pain in their body, they have pain in their joints. Okay, mostly in the elbow joint, okay, and knee joint. Elbow joint and knee joint pains are most prevalent in the old age person, whereas the old age females, they have the hip pain, okay, and there will be a pain in their vertebral column, okay, back pain, we are calling a back pain. Okay, so old age and lack of mobility, they also contributed to these diseases. Okay, they are called as joints diseases, which is dealt in the rheumatology. Now, due to the severe exercise, or we can say the extensive exercise can lead to the joint diseases. Okay, there will be a dislocation of the joint, and sometimes the sprains happen. Okay, we can say the part which join the two bones, that's your tendon, sometimes there will be tearing of those tendons, okay, and generation of the sprain. Okay, so these are the some of the diseases and how they are happen, why they are happen, due to the some age is one of the factor, then lack of mobility, then extensive exercise, and there will be a lack of exercise. So you don't have to exercise too much, okay, you don't have to exercise not at all. Okay, you have to exercise according to your, we can say, the stability, your stamina. Okay, exercise is needed. Now, why I am emphasizing that exercise is needed for the betterment of joint, okay, for the health of joints, the exercise is needed because the muscle, we can say, the joint stability is directly correlated with the muscle strength. What I mean by this? It means if your muscles is strong, okay, it means your joint will be stable. Are you following? If your muscles is strengthful, if your muscles is strong, okay, they don't get fatigued easily, it means your joint will be more stable. So there is a direct correlation between the joint stability and the muscle strength. Understanding? No problem? Now, another thing basically you have to keep in your mind is that every joints are classified. First of all, joints are classified, okay, and each joint have their unique type of blood supply. Write down. Joints are classified. Joints are classified, and each joint, each type of basically joint have their unique type of blood supply, have unique type of blood supply. Understanding? No problem? No problem? Okay, shall we move ahead? Now, as you know that the bones is embryologically formed by the one kind of stem cell. That stem cell is called as mesenchymal stem cell. Okay, so joints are also formed. Joints are also formed by the mesenchymal stem cell. Very good, by the mesenchymal stem cell. Mesenchymal stem cell. No problem? Okay, shall I repeat once again? Yeah, joints are, as I told, it's a contact between the two bone. Okay, contact between the bone and the muscle, contact between the bone and your cartilage. Okay, and bone with your teeth. Okay, now joints help in the movements. The prime function of joint, there are other functions as well, but the prime function of joint is it's provide the movement. Okay. Now, the second thing about the joint is there are diseases, okay, there are classes of diseases which affect the joint, okay, and the main, we can say, the reason behind these joint diseases are, first one is the age, okay, old age persons suffer from these joint diseases. Then there is a lack of mobility, okay, lack of mobility also contribute to the joint diseases. Then there are extensive exercise, okay, the person is exercising, okay, beyond their will, beyond their stamina, beyond their strength, that can lead to the damages of the joints, okay. Now then there are lack of exercise, person not exercise at all, okay, that can also affect the joints, so you should have the minimum, we can say, range of exercise. First of all, you have the good diet, and very good, the lack of nutrition, some of the nutritions which are, we can say, the vital for maintaining the health of joint, okay, nutrition, write down, nutritional also, we can say, play a role, okay, to maintaining in the joints, maintaining the joint health, okay. Now then, as I said, that joint stability, why I am emphasizing, forcing on the exercise, because the joint stability is directly correlatable with the muscle strength, understood? Then joints are classified, okay, we will see after a few minutes that joints are divided primarily into the three types, okay, and each joint have their unique type of blood supply. Not only the blood supply, their innervation also, okay, they have the unique type of blood supply as well as the innervation. Innervation means nerve supply, okay, innervation means nerve supply, understanding? Then I said that joint are formed, okay, along with the bone ossification, okay, and joint formation, they are the, we can say, the same event, okay, and both are formed by the mesenchymal stem cell, Till here, any doubt? No? Shall we move ahead? Okay. Now, once we defined the basic characteristic features about the joint, let's move ahead, and don't forget that Anthrology is the study of, very good, study of joints, okay. So now, once we defined the joints feature, now let's move ahead and discuss about the classification of joints. Classification of joints. Okay, classification of joints. I am thinking like I am rubbing the board and it takes time, you get bored. Is it? You get bored? No? Thank you. So let's start the classification, discussing the classification of joints. Okay? So joints classification. Classification. And yeah, my friends, one thing I would like to share with you, that if you have any problem regarding these lectures, like if you are not, the words are not visual to you, or if you have the other problems, sound problem, video quality problem, then please comment down. I will improve. Okay, I will follow your messages. Okay, and I will try to improve these lectures, because after all these lectures are contributed for your understanding. Okay, so okay, let's start with the classification of the joint. As I said that joints are classified. Okay, and joints are classified mainly on the two bases. The first basis is the amount of movement permitted. Write down the amount of movement permitted. Okay, the first is on the basis of the amount of movement permitted, and the second class of the division of joint is based on the dominance of, we can say, dominance of type of tissue involvement, or we can simply say it that the dominance of tissue involvement. See, joints are classified on the two bases. The first basis is the dominance of tissue involvement, that which kind of tissue is involved. On that very basis the joints are classified, and this category of joint classification, because there is involvement of the tissue, so this type of classification is called as it's called as histological classification. It is called as histological classification. Write down histological classification of joint. Histological classification of joint. Understanding? No problem. Now move ahead to the second type of classification. The second type of classification is on the basis of the amount of movement permitted, that how much we can say amount of movement is permitted, okay, or is capable by the joint. On that basis there is a division. Okay, for this basis, okay, this type of classification based on the amount of movement, they are called as the functional classification. Very good, they are called as the functional classification. Write down functional classification. Is it difficult to understand? No? Yeah. If these things will be difficult for us, then how will we study the deeper things? Okay, we have to study the another things as well. No, see, like there are some students who just read the books. Okay, even they understand or don't understand, they don't care. Okay, but they study for the own sake of the study only. But like, if you are putting the time, if you are putting on the time somewhere, okay, then don't put the time just because of the fear of the examination, my friends. Okay, try to learn, try to understand the concept, because these things are present inside your body. Okay, they are functional in your body, they are structurally present in your body. Then it's your 100% right to understand the phenomenon of your body. Okay, and if you are in a healthcare sector, if you are preparing for the, you are in the MBBS, you are for in nursing, the GNM, as well as the other branches like the radiology, okay, the paramedics, okay, then lab technicians. If you are those kind of persons, it means you have to help the patients as well, no? So you have bit sort of, we can say, the deeper knowledge, okay, deeper knowledge. So always try to study the things, okay, by your pure heart. Okay, because I know if you put your attention to somewhere, okay, then the nature will reveal their mysteries, their secrets. Okay, and you feel awesome, you know, the goosebumps, you feel happier. Okay, so we are discussing the joints, okay, and we classified the joints on the two bases. The first one is called the dominance of tissue involvement, okay, and that category of classification is called as the histological classification. Understanding? Then there are the other bases. The other basis of the classification is the amount of movement permitted, and this type of classification is called as the functional classification. So you understand first that what type of joint are come into the histological classification. It's a easy, it's a three. Where should I write? Here only. Yeah, see, the first type is called as the fibrous joint. Okay, fibrous joints. And you know, fibers are strong. Okay, fibers are strong, remember in your mind. Then the other classification, the cartilaginous classification. Cartilaginous joints. Okay, this is the second type. Then you have the third type, and this type of classification is called as, yeah, it's a synovial joints. Very good. It's a synovial joints. No problem. First is a fibrous joint, second is a cartilaginous joint, and third one is your synovial joint. Whereas the functional classification, yeah, they are also classified into the three types. Okay, the first classification, the first type of classification is called as synarthrosis. Okay, second type is called amphiarthrosis, and third one is called as diarthrosis. Okay, write down synarthrosis, okay, then amphiarthrosis, and then diarthrosis, and third one is called as the diarthrosis. Okay, the first one is called the synarthrosis, second one is called the amphiarthrosis, third one is called the diarthrosis. Understanding? But the thing you have to keep in your mind is that both the type of classification scheme is correlatable. Both the type of classification scheme, they are correlatable. How? The question is arising in your mind, how? Let me tell you how. Okay, because I hidden one secret. You know that fibrous joints, they are immovable. Okay, they are immovable. they are immovable joint, okay, whereas cartilaginous joint, they are relatively bit movable, okay. So we can say partially immovable, okay. They are, where I should write it, here you write in a better way in your note, that's a relatively movable, okay, but generally considered as a immovable. They permit not wide range of movement but bit movement, but whereas the synovial joints, they are freely permeable, okay, they are freely permeable. Now the synerectrosis, their meaning is immovable, okay. Amphiarthrosis, the word amphi means dual, they are bit movable and bit not immovable, the same as the cartilaginous joint. Now you are understanding why I am saying the two system of classification scheme is correlatable. That's why they are correlatable. Whereas the diarthrosis, their dihard give the movement. That means they are also a free movable. Okay, freely movable. Freely movable. Clear? Understood? So you just remember that the both scheme classifications are co-relatable. Clear? No doubt. Let's summarize this one again. We define the joints on the two bases. The first basis is on the dominance of the, we can say, the tissue involvement, and that category is called a histological classification, and one type, the amount of movement permitted, okay, and this category of classification is called as the functional classification. Understood? Then in the histological classifications there are the three types. The first is called the fibrous joint, which is immovable. Then second one is cartilaginous joint, which is slightly movable. Then there is a synovial joint, which is a freely movable. Then in the functional category there are three joints. The first one is called the synerectrosis, which is immovable, correlatable with your fibrous joint. Then you have the amphiarthrosis, amphi means dual, and it is also a slight movable, correlated with the cartilaginous joint. Then you have the diarthrosis, which is the free movable, correlated with your synovial joint. Understanding? No doubt? Shall we move ahead? Yeah. So what we are going to do, first we will take the histological classification, because the functional classification can be easily understood by the histological classification. If I am defining the fibrous joint, that it should clear in your mind that I am also taking simultaneously the synerectrosis. At the same time, if I am dealing with the cartilaginous joint, you should have the clear in your mind that I am also dealing with the amphiarthrosis, okay, and then the synovial joint with your dihard, that is diarthrosis. So first deal with the fibrous joint. Clear? No problem. Fibrous joint. Yes. Okay, we are dealing with the fibrous joint. Fibrous joint, there are characteristics, okay, there are characteristics related with the fibrous joint. This kind of joint is basically, we can consider it is a fixed joint, okay, fixed joint. Understanding? No any problem? Second thing you keep in your mind is that there is no any cavity in these joints. There is no any cavity, okay, we can say the cavity of joint is absent. So no cavity, okay, and they are immovable. They are immovable. Now the another thing you should keep in your mind is about their blood supply. So they are basically supplied by the underlying perforating blood arteries. Okay, perforating blood artery means, suppose let us take the fibrous joint example first. Yeah, shall I first discuss it, or later I will define the meaning of perforating? Perforating you just simply understood, if this is your skull, okay, and there will be a blood supply, okay, there will be a blood supply for the skull region like the meninges, okay, then this main blood supply they give the between branches to the bones area. This type of blood supply is called as the perforating blood supply. Clear? Understood? Okay, no problem. So these are the three characteristics you just remember in your mind. Okay, and now the fibrous joints, they are also classified. Further classification is there, and that's easy to understand. Okay, the first classification is your sutures. Okay, sutures, then gamma fosses, okay, and then you have synthrosis, or I think, yeah, syndesmos. Now it's easy to understand that the sutures is present in the skull. Okay, so I have to draw the diagram of skull. Yeah, so is it looking like a skull? So this is a skull. You are looking in a upside. Okay, you are looking from the above. Looking up the above. This is your skull. Now, these skull. First, you tell me the bones of the skull, or we can say the cranium. This is your cranium. The skull is whole. Okay. So this is your cranium box where the brain is peacefully not sleeping. They are active. Okay. So this is the cranium box. Inside this there is a lining of the brain. Now my question is, tell the name of the bone of the cranium. Okay, are you going to tell, or shall I write? Yeah, you will tell. Very good. Tell. The first one is, this is your parietal bone. Very good. Not a parietal. This is your front bone. Don't go blindly. Frontal bone, isn't it? Okay, then, yeah, parietal bone. Okay, then, very good, you have the occipital bone. Yeah, then temporal, then your temporal bone. Till here, no any doubt? Okay, so what happened when we are in our mother fetus, or we can say the womb? On that very time, these bones are not joined firmly as now we have the joining in our the skull, or we can say the cranium bone. Understanding? Previously their joining is not, we can say, tight, not firmly they are attached, not they are strong. Okay, so they are basically pliable. These kind of, we can say, these joints, okay, these sutures, which is basically a fibrous joints, they are not present in your birth time as well. You know, like when there is a birth, okay, through the birth canal, if the cranium or this brain box is hard, then it will hurt mother as well, okay, and it is a very difficult in the parturition, okay, difficult in the delivery process. So natures provide a very, we can say, the unique mechanism on the, we can say, the fetal skull, that they are joining the skull's bones are not joined properly. That's the first feature. Second thing you should remember, that after the birth, these sutures, they are, we can say, they are start developing, okay, they are developing in terms of they are ossifying, okay, and they are developing along with the brain development, understanding, because brains are structurally developed till the age of 8 years, okay, and eyes are also functionally developed till the 8 year. Structurally, basically, I am saying the basically the structurally 8 year or around 6 year. You just check it. And the thing is that these bone of the skull, bone of the cranium, okay, bone of the craniums, they are start joining, okay, along with the development of the bone. As soon as the bone is developed, sorry, the brain is developed, these sutures get also ossified. The suture gets also ossified, and there are conditions. You know what? That nothing is going to be peacefully permanent. There are some unfortunate baby, we can say, where due to the genetic involvement or environmental involvement, there is a fusion of these bones earlier, okay, before the brain will develop, okay, before brain is developed, they ossified, these joinings of the is ossified, and that condition is called craniocytosis. Where I should write it, it's necessary to understand. It's called the, write down, craniocytosis, yeah, craniosynostosis, craniosynostosis, understanding. That's a fusion of these sutures early before the we can say, development of the bone. And now see how they are joined. First type of suture which is present here, it is like the second suture is here. See, the frontal bone joined with the parietal bone by the suture, and that suture is called as the coronal suture. Write down, this is your coronal suture. Understanding? No any doubt? Now, we have the two parietal bone, we know it. So one parietal bone is joined with the another parietal bone by the one midline suture, and that suture is called as sagittal suture, okay. Write down, it is called as the sagittal suture, okay. And the part of parietal bone, they are joined with the back occipital bone by one lambda shaped, we can say, the suture, and that type of suture is called as, very good, lambdoid suture. They are called as the lambdoid suture. Understanding? No problem. Now there are one more suture which is a bit difficult to watch from the above, okay. They are well, we can seen by the lateral view. That is your temporal bone. You have also the temporal bone, okay, and there is a suture. This type of suture is called as the squamous suture, okay. This type of suture is called as the squamous suture. Squamous suture. no doubt. And these sutures are basically ossified and brain is developed in the normal scenario, normal case, whereas in the some babies, okay, they fuse earlier. See, the fusion of these bones, they are termed as synestosis. Synestosis is basically a fusion of two flat cranium bones, okay, that's called a synestosis. But if these sutures, they get early joined, okay, they get early ossified before the brain is developed fully, then these conditions lead to the craniosynostosis, okay. And if this happen in these, like if this happen in this parietal bone, okay, if this happen in the parietal bone, okay, the sagittal sutures, they get ossified, okay, and here the brain is not properly developed, then this condition, there is a specific name that is called basically your scalphocephaly, because this is your scalp, okay, this is your scalp, this part is called the scalp. So this condition is called as the scalphocephaly, which is basically one type of, write down, one type of craniosynostosis, okay, craniosynostosis, that is called the scalphocephaly, okay. The baby is complaining because the brain is not developed in this area, and there is a complaining of pain, okay, headache, vomiting. These are the some sign of symptoms of this scalphocephaly, which is one kind of the craniosynostosis. Don't confuse with the hydrocephalus. Hydrocephalus is another defect, okay. Hydrocephalus. This hydrocephalus is also enlargement of the cranium, okay, enlargement of the cranium, but it is due to the excessive CSF production, okay, it is due to the excessive, write down, it is due to the excessive CSF, that is your cerebrospinal fluid in your brain, okay, that excessive secretion is lead to the hydrocephalus, which is different from the craniosynostosis. Here it is a problem of their joining, okay, they are joined sooner and the brain is not developed properly, okay, brain is not developed properly. So this is about the first type of fibrous joint, that is your sutures, okay. No problem, let's summarize it once again. Yeah, very good. We are discussing the fibrous joints, and we classified the fibrous joint into the three types: sutures, gamophosis, and syndesmos, okay. So first we taken the example of the sutures. As I said that the sutures are not, we can say in the birth time, okay, they are not firmly attached, okay, they are not ossified basically, so they are also helping in the parturition. Second thing is that in the some baby, okay, in the some baby, they ossified earlier before the brain is developed, so this condition is called as the craniosynostosis, okay. And one of the type of craniosynostosis is the scalphocephalus, in which there is a joining of this ossification of sagittal sutures sooner, okay. Generally what happened, generally the brain development and the suture development, we can say the suture ossification, they are going simultaneously. As soon as the brain get developed structurally proper way, then the sutures get also ossified properly, okay. That's a normal scenario. But in for some of the unfortunate babies, there is a early fusion of these sutures, and that is termed as the craniosynostosis. And one of the type of craniosynostosis is a scalphocephaly, which is different from the hydrocephalus. In the hydrocephalus, there is a excessive CSF production. Clear? Then the types of suture which is present is, the first one is coronal suture between the frontal bone and the parietal bone. Then there is a one suture which join the two parietal bone, that is called a sagittal suture. Then there is a temporal bone joined with the parietal bone, that's called the squamous suture. Then one lambda-shaped suture which join the occipital with the what is called this parietal bone, that type of is called the lamboid suture for their name. Now once we discussed about the suture, let's go with defining the another, that's called the gamophosis. That's called the gamophosis. The gamophosis joint, which is a type of fibrous joint, they are present in the, very good, gum is present where? Most of these terms are just relatable with their words. They are called gum. Means it is type of the joint which is present in the teeth, okay. So The gammophosis is present in the teeth, and here is your beautiful teeth. Okay, beautiful teeth. So this is not hurt, don't confuse. Okay, and yeah, I should have to draw it clearly. And here is your blood supply. This is your gum area. Okay, this is your gum area, and there is a bone. Shit. Yeah, this is a bone. Okay, so just come fast. This is the bone. Okay, and this cavity, this is the bone which joined with the teeth. Okay, and this type of, we can say, the joint is called the gammophosis. Okay, it is called the gammophosis. Okay, gammophosis. Understand? Now, the clinical point you should remember is that there are some bacterias. Okay, there are some bacterias which damages this joining, and it is a very tight joining. Remember, it is a very tight joining. It is joined by the periodontal ligament, periodontal ligaments. And you know that this is a type of fibrous joint, so there is no any movement. Okay, so no fun of telling that there is no any cavity also. Joining cavity means it is must join with the ligament. So the thing you should keep in your mind is that there are some bacteria, okay, which destroy these attachment of the bone with the teeth. Okay, attachment of the bone of the teeth, and there is a plaque formation. Okay, there is a plaque formation, and this kind of problem is called the inflammation. They damages the, we can say, the gum. Okay, and the bone ligaments. This is called the periodontitis. Write down. See what happened. There will be a formation of plaque, a cavity. Okay, there will be a formation of the cavity. So this condition, I am talking the pathological condition, this is called as the periodontitis. Okay, and if initially there is a inflammation of the only this area, okay, infection in this area, if it will not resolve, okay, if it will not managed properly, then it lead to the another severe condition where the gums are severely inflamed, and that condition is called gingivitis. That condition is called as the gingivitis. There is a severe inflammation of the gum. Okay, so it is a gammophosis. Understand? Let's summarize it once again. Gammophosis is one of kind of the fibrous joint which is present between the bone and the teeth. What happened? The bone is joined with the teeth by the periodontal ligament, which is a strong kind of bonding, a strong kind of joining. And what happened? Sometimes there is a bacteria. Okay, some of the bacteria which damages this area, and they form the plaque. Okay, and that lead to the periodontitis. Okay, that lead to the periodontitis, that injury of the gum. If it will not manage properly, if it will not dissolve properly, then they lead to another condition that's called the gingivitis. And we can say initially they are called as the periodontitis, but if that not managed properly, that lead to the gingivitis. Okay, there are antibiotic therapy by which they can resolve properly. Okay, they can resolve properly. Now Come to the another class of classification of the fibrous joint, that's your syndesmos. Syndesmos. See, the desmos, the word desmos denotes ligaments, isn't it? Ligaments, that denotes the ligament, okay? And there is a, we can say, they are a slightly movable joint, okay, and they are basically present in the radius and ulna, okay, and tibia and fibula, like we know generally that the fibrous joints, they are immovable, but like this kind syndesmos, they provide bit slight movement, they provide the slight movement. So the example of syndesmos, you just write down, they are present in the radio-ulnar joint, as well as the tibio-fibular joint, okay. I should draw the diagram, okay, no problem. Here is your diagram. Okay, see, this is radia and ulna, okay, radius and ulna, yeah, radius and ulna, okay. So how you recognize that where radius and ulna is present? See, this little angle, they denotes the radius, is it? Yeah, no, they denotes the ulna, okay, they denotes the ulna, and the thumb, they denote the radius, okay. In the thumb side there is a presence of radius, and in the little finger side there is a presence of the ulna, okay. And they are joined here, and this type of joining is called as the radio-ulnar joint, and above, you know, there is a humerus bone, okay, single humerus bone, okay. So there is a humerus bone, and this is a synovial joint basically, which we will discuss later, okay. But between the radius, very good, and ulna, okay, radius and ulna is, remember, little finger, and the radius is for your thumb size, okay. So they are joined by the radio-ulnar joint, okay, radio-ulnar joint, which is a type of syndesmos. And you know that you can move your forearm, basically this is your arm, this is your forearm, okay, and you can move. So they provide bit movement, okay, bit movement while you are moving your forearm, so they provide bit movement. Clear? No problem? Okay. Now come to the tibio-fibular joint. See, where should I draw it? Yeah. Tibia and fibula, they are present in your lower limb, okay. They are present in your leg basically, and in the thigh region there is a longest bone, presence of the longest bone, and the joining of the bone is here different, okay. You should know it. The joining of the bone is here different. The tibia, the fibula, they are joined at the two end of the tibia. This is your tibia, okay, and this is your fibula, okay. So tibia, they are joined at the both the end of the, the fibula is joined at the both the end of the tibia, okay. So we can say the upper fibulo-tubular joint and the lower inferior tibulo-fibular joint, okay. And here this joint, the syndesmos, which provide a slight movement, they help in, we can say, sometimes you are wearing the weight, okay, you are wearing the weight too much, so on that very time they provide the stability to the joints, okay, to the joints, basically the knee joint. And upper side there is a presence of what? There is a presence of Yeah, longest bone, femur, very good, which is joined by the synovial joint. But the tibia and fibula, they are joined together by the tibio-fibular joint. Okay, and the thing you should remember is that here they provide the stability. Okay, and sometimes what happened, due to the excessive weight bearing or due to the jumping, okay, and due to the sudden too much rotation of your leg, okay, too much rotation of your leg lead to the condition, and that condition is called the sprain, or more specifically that's called the high ankle sprain. High, write down, that is called as the high ankle sprain. Okay, and you know the treatment of a sprain, you know how to remember? Not, it is easy. It's remembered by the formula called REST, R-E-S-T. R denote the rest, okay, E denote elevation, okay, E denotes that's not, sorry, it's rise. Sprain treatment can be remembered by the mnemonics RISE. R stand for rest, okay, and then I stand for eyes. You should apply the eyes, okay. C for the compression, and E stand for the elevation. Okay, when the injury happened, when the sprain happened, suppose I feel the sprain. Sprains means the ligaments with joints, they are got teared, okay, they are got, we can say, the break. That condition is called the sprain. Okay, suppose I have the wrist sprain, then their treatment protocol can be assessed by the mnemonics RISE. First I should have to take a rest, okay, and then I stand for eyes. I should apply the eyes, then compress, then elevation. Elevation means you have to elevate, okay, or put higher the part which is affected to your heart, okay, so that there is no any swelling, inflammation will reduce, the edema will not form, okay, and due to the against of the gravity, the injury get healed sooner. Okay, so let us summarize. We discussed the another type of fibrous joint, that's called the syndesmos, okay, and here we make one, we can say the we concept that this provides slight movement, okay, which are helping the bone. The first example is radio-ulnar joint, which is present between the radia and ulna of our forearm. Here this joint provide bit, we can say, the movability or rotation of the forearm, okay, rotation of the forearm. Then we seen that there is another type of syndesmos is present in our tibia and fibula. See, the fibula is attached with the tibia with the two regions, okay. The uppermost regions is called as superior tibialo-fibular joint, and innermost is called as the inferior tibialo-fibular joint, okay. Now the joint which is present in the upper region, okay, and the lower region, sometimes due to the excessive rotation, they are meant for the stability, okay, but there are sometimes you are rotating too much your leg, okay, that causes the sprain, okay, and that sprain is called high ankle sprain, okay, that's called the high ankle sprain, understood. And that the treatment of a sprain can be remembered by the mnemonics RISE. R stand for the rest, I for the eyes, C stand for compression, E stand for elevation. So by this we discussed the first classification, that's called the fibrous joint, okay. So what things we studied till now? We first defined the joint. That joint is basically a contact between the two bone, contact between the bone and cartilage, contact between the bone and muscles, contact between the bone and teeth. Then we defined the meaning of arthrology and rheumatology. That arthrology is basically one specific branch of anatomy which only deals with the study of joints, whereas the rheumatology is the specialization in the medicine, okay, which deals with the study of bones, muscles, tendons, joints, along with their treatment, okay, pathology and treatment. Then we defined the joints, their characteristics, that the joint have direct correlation with the muscles, okay, joint have the specific type of, unique type of blood supply, unique type of innervation, understood. Then we defined the joint is directly correlatable with the, we can say, the muscle strength. Then joints are affected, it's the common problems in the old age, as well as the lack of exercise can cause to the joint diseases. Then too much exercise, the severe exercise can caused the, we can say, the joint diseases, okay, and there are other hormonal problems, okay. Then we classified joint into the two bases. The first basis is on the basis of amount of movement permitted, and we tell that this type of movement is called the functional classification, okay. And in another hand, we define the classification which is based on the dominance of the tissue, okay, and that is called the histological classification. Then we seen that both the type of classification can be correlatable, okay. Then we taken the first type of classification, that's called the histological classification, and we start discussing the histological classification is again three types, okay. The first type is called as the fibrous joint, then you have cartilaginous joint, then you have the synovial joint. And we discuss the fibrous joint, that it has the fixed joint, basically no cavity, okay, and they are immovable and they have the perforating branch of blood supply, okay. Then we seen that fibrous joint are the three types. The first one is called the suture, second one is called the gamophosis, third one is called the syndesmos, understanding. Then we seen that the sutures, okay, they have their own story. Sometimes there is a congenital defect, we can say, and after the birth, okay, before the brain is structurally developed, the sutures get ossified, and that condition is called as the craniocephaly, okay, craniosynostosis basically. Then we define the gamophosis, that is present between the teeth socket, okay, the bone, underlying bone and the teeth. Then we define the syndesmos. The desmos basically denotes the ligament, and we seen there are two types of joint, the radio-ulnar joint and the fibula-tibular joint, okay. So the another joint is your, very good, another joint is your cartilage joint, which we will discuss after the break. So thank you with having me. Bye, have a nice day.